Hello students and welcome back to our class. Today we will be discussing about combinations. But before we start, let us just have a look at the problems that I had given you in the earlier class on permutations. So this was one of the problems. In how many ways can 6 men and 6 women be seated at a round table if the man and woman are to sit in alternate seats? Okay. So I am not providing the detailed solution. I have written the answer here, and some of you have already solved. So just let me explain a little bit. It's not that difficult. So there are 12 persons in all, but there is a restriction that the man and woman have to sit in alternate places. Okay, so let us just first fix the arrangement for men. So 6 men can be arranged around a circular table in factorial 6 minus 1 ways, right? But for each circular permutation of man, the woman can be arranged in the remaining 6 seats in factorial 6 ways. Okay, in this case it's not factorial 5, because once the position of the man are fixed, any cyclic rearrangement of the woman will give us a new circular permutation. Okay, it will not be the old circular permutation itself. Okay, so for the arrangement of women, we have to consider all factorial 6 arrangements, right? So the answer is here factorial 5 multiplied with factorial 6. Okay. Then another problem that I had given was 10 people, including 2 who do not wish to sit together, are to be seated around a circular table. How many sitting arrangements are possible? Okay. So first of all, we will do it using the subtraction principle. Okay. So we will see the complementary event. Okay. These two people do not wish to sit together. So let us see how many arrangements are possible if these two people are always sitting together. Okay. So first of all, the total number of arrangements is factorial 10 minus 1, because there are 10 people. So 10 people can be seated around a round table in factorial 10 minus 1 ways. Okay. So total number of arrangements without any restriction is factorial 9, right? Now suppose these two people always sit together, then you consider these two people as 1. So now you have 9 people. So 9 people can be arranged around a circular table in factorial 8 ways. Okay, but each of these two people among themselves, they can be arranged in factorial 2 ways. So the number of arrangements where these two people sit together is factorial 8 multiplied with factorial 2, right? So the total number of arrangements where these two people do not sit together is factorial 9 minus factorial 8 into factorial 2. Okay, so that comes out to be 7 into factorial 8. Okay, then determine the number of circular permutations of 0, 1 to up to 9 in which 0 and 9 are not opposite. Okay, 0 and 9 do not occur opposite to each other. So let us consider the complementary event. 0 and 9 always occur opposite to each other. That means position of 0 and 9 is fixed. So the remaining 8 places can be arranged in factorial 8 ways. So the number of arrangements where the 0 and 9 are always opposite is factorial 8. Okay, and the total number of arrangement is factorial 9. So the number of arrangements where 0 and 9 are not opposite is factorial 9 minus factorial 8. Okay, so that is also another application of the subtraction rule. Okay, let us begin with our topic, combination of sets. Let R be a non-negative integer, then by an R combination of an n element set, we understand an unordered selection of R of the n elements. Okay, that means we select R of elements out of n elements. Okay, and combination studies in how many ways this can be done. Okay, so in other words, an R combination of S is a subset of S consisting of R of the n elements of S. Okay, so when we consider combinations, there is no mention about the arrangement. Okay, arrangement doesn't matter here. We just need to select some elements. Okay, so suppose S equal to ABC. This is a set of 3 objects. The 1 combinations of S are given as A. Okay, suppose I select only A, I select only B, or I can select only C. So these are the 1 combinations of S. What are the 2 combinations? AB, the subset AB, okay, the subset BC, the subset CA. These are the 2 combinations. So observe that I have not written BA again, okay, because the order here is not important. Okay, I am just choosing elements, right? The total number of R combinations of an element set is denoted by NCR. Okay, so this is the symbol for the total number of R combinations of an element set. Okay, it is often read as N choose R. Okay, it is also denoted as CNR, or this symbol is actually popular as N choose R. Okay, so you need to know all these three symbols as well. So NCR is equivalently meant to represent the number of ways of selecting R objects from N distinct objects. Okay, so that is how we see it in combinatorics, right? NCR is the number of ways of selecting R objects from N objects. Okay. What is NC0? NC0 means, so in terms of set theory that we had mentioned already, NC0 means the number of zero element subsets of a set having N elements. So how many such subsets are there? There is only one subset which has zero elements, that is the null set. Okay, and so NC0 has to be 1, right? NCN means the number of N element subsets of a set having N elements. So there is only one such subset, that is the set itself. So NCN has to be 1, right? So NC0 and NCN have to be 1, right? And then we have this formula for 0 less than or equal to R less than or equal to N. NCR is factorial N divided by factorial N minus R into factorial R. Okay. So how do you prove it? We prove it this way. Given an N element set S, the number of ways of choosing R elements is NCR. This is the definition of NCR. Then for each choice of R, so once we select R elements, we can arrange these R elements in factorial R ways, right? So total number of permutations of N elements taken R at a time is what? NCR multiplied with factorial R. Okay. So because permutation of N elements taken R at a time is done in this way, R elements are chosen and then they are arranged. Okay, so R elements can be chosen in NCR ways. For each choice of R elements, there are factorial R ways of arrangement. Okay, so by multiplication rule, the total number of permutations of N elements taken R at a time is NCR multiplied with factorial R. But we already know that it is equal to NPR. So NCR multiplied with factorial R has to be NPR. So NCR is factorial N by factorial N minus R into factorial R. Okay. So some examples, say number of straight lines that can be drawn through N points in a plane, no three of which are collinear. Okay, that means the points are non-collinear. So this is what is NC2, because each choice of 2 points determines a unique line. Okay, if we have 2 points, we can draw a line passing through these 2 points, right? So this is the thing. Then suppose N points are given in a plane, out of which M points are collinear, okay, and no 3 of the other N minus M points are collinear, right? Then the number of straight lines is what? The total number of straight lines which is supposed to be is NC2. Okay, but out of these N points there are M points which are collinear. That means all the lines that will be considered through these M points will represent the same line. That means I have to subtract this from our count. Okay, our count of total lines is NC2, but out of this there are MC2 lines which are actually the same line, right? So we have to subtract this, but even after subtracting we have to add 1, because in the process of subtracting I have not counted this particular line even once. Okay, so we have to count this particular line once, so that's why I have to write 1 plus 1 here, right? And so MC2 lines determined by M collinear points represent the same line. That is why we have subtracted, and then we have added 1 because this line has to be counted once, right? Similarly, with N points in a plane, with N points in a plane with no 3 of them collinear, the number of triangles that can be formed is NC3. Okay, so because you choose any 3 points, you will get a triangle, so it's NC3. Then we have this result NCR. This is a very popular result. NCR is same as NC N minus R. So you can prove it very easily using the formula. Okay, you can try it at home. Start with the right hand side. Okay, apply the formula and you will get it in 1 or 2 steps. Then another result which is also very popular is NCR plus NCR minus 1 equal to N plus 1 CR. Okay, so you try to prove it by expanding the left hand side using the formula NCR and NC R minus 1. Okay, So please do it. Okay, now let us see a different viewpoint of finding out the number of subsets of a set, okay, or the number of R combinations, the total number of R combinations of a set having n elements. Okay, so let S equal to ABC. What is the total number of subsets of S? Equivalently, how many different R combinations of S are possible? Okay, so let us list, these are the subsets phi, A, B, C. So it's very easy to list the subsets because the number of elements is very less here, right? So these are the only possible subsets. So how many are there? 8 subsets are there. Okay, so forming subsets is same as choosing elements from the set, right? So if I want to form a subset, I have to choose elements from that particular set. So it is same as saying finding out how many subsets are there is same as finding out how many ways are there of choosing the elements. Okay, so choosing the elements in what way? None at a time, or one at a time, or two at a time, three at a time, or n at a time. Okay, these are the possibilities. So let us represent the subsets with choices made in the following form, in forming them, right? So phi is a subset. So here what are the choices we have made? We have not chosen A, we have not chosen B, we have not chosen C, right? So none chosen, right? When we form the subset A, we have chosen A, we have not chosen B and C. Okay, so only A is chosen. In forming the subset B, which one we have chosen? We have chosen only B. In forming the subset C, we have chosen only C. In forming the subset AB, we have chosen A and B. Okay, so that way we can put tick mark and cross mark. So thus, to construct a subset of ABC, we have two options for A. That is, either A is chosen or it's not chosen, right? And for each option for A, there are two options for B as well. Either B is chosen or B is not chosen. Okay. So yeah, so similarly for each option of A and B, there are two options for C. Either C is chosen or it isn't. So by multiplication rule, the task of forming a subset can be done in how many ways? 2 ways. 2 into 2 into 2. Okay, that is 8 ways. Okay. Either A can be chosen or it's not chosen. So there are two options available to us. Okay. So if we begin by choosing A, okay, then also we have two options for us in the next step, that is either choosing B or not choosing B. Okay. So this task can be accomplished in 2 into 2 into 2, that is 8 ways. That is 2 cube ways. So the number of subsets of a 3 element set is 2 cube. Okay. Now let us count it in a different way. We count the number of subsets in another way. Number of 0 element subsets is 3C0 by definition. Number of 1 element subsets is 3C1. Okay. Number of 2 element subsets is 3C2. Number of 3 element subsets is 3C3. So total number of subsets is 3C0 plus 3C1 plus 3C2 plus 3C3. Okay. Thus 3C0, so but both these two quantities represent the same thing. They represent the number of subsets of a 3 element set. So they have to be equal. Okay, and in fact we can just put the values and see they are indeed equal. Okay. So we have counted the same thing in two different ways and got two different expressions. Okay, but since both the expressions give the count of the same thing, same task, so they are equal. A combinatorial proof goes like this. Okay, so this system of proving is called a combinatorial proof. We count the same task or same thing in two different ways and then get two different expressions. So those two expressions have to be equal. Okay, so using this, let us try to prove this. NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 plus up to NCn, the sum of these coefficients, okay, is equal to 2 to the power n. Okay, and the common value equals the number of R combinations of an n element set. Okay, or the number of subsets of an n element set. They are equivalent. Okay. So how will I prove this? We present a combinatorial proof by showing that both sides of the given equality count the number of R combinations of an n element set. Okay, we will show that the left hand side also counts the number of R combinations of an n element set. The right hand side also does the same thing. So first we observe that every combination of an n element set is an R combination for some r equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n. Okay, any selection of objects, it's a R combination. But the number of R combinations of an n element set is what? NCR. It is already given, NCR. Hence by addition rule, the total number of R combinations will be NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 plus NCn. n. Okay, so again, forming any R combination of n element set is equivalent to doing n tasks. Okay, what are those n tasks? If S is the set x1 x2 up to xn, the first task is deciding whether to choose x1 or not. Okay, the second task is to decide whether to choose x2 or not. Okay, the same explanation that I had given for the case of ABC. Okay, so we generalize this for the case x1 x2 up to xn. So the first task can be done in two ways. Okay, that is the choice of A, either it is chosen or it is not. So the first task is deciding whether we have to choose x1 or not. So the first task can be done in two ways, and for each way of doing the first task there are two ways of doing the second task. Okay, and this goes on. So thus an R combination can be formed in 2 into 2 into 2 into up to n times. Okay, that is 2 to the power n ways. Okay, so the number of R combinations is 2 to the power n. Hence 2 to the power n also counts the number of R combinations. This left hand side also counts the number of R combinations. So these two has to be equal. Okay, so yeah, so I'll give you some problems for this week. You have 1 week to solve this. Okay, find the number of rectangles in the following grid. Okay, this you can do it by the concept of combinations, right? I'll not tell you how to do it. You please try to find out. Find the number of rectangles in the following grid, of course without counting. Okay, and say find the number of rectangles in the following grid of n vertical parallel lines and m horizontal lines, right? So there are n lines here, L1 L2 up to Ln, and there are m lines in the horizontal manner, so m1 m2 up to mm. Okay, so how many rectangles are there? You need to find out the number of rectangles. Okay, so let me give another similar problem. The vertical and horizontal lines in the following square grid are equispaced. Okay, find the number of squares in the grid. So all these spaces, the lines are equispaced. Okay, so for better understanding, I have just given the coordinates. This is 1 1, this is 2 1, this is 3 1. That means the distance between each line is 1 unit. Okay, distance between each horizontal line is also 1 unit. Okay, so it's 7 4 like that. Okay, so you need to find out the number of squares in this diagram. Okay, I will not tell you how to do it, please try. Then let me generalize this. The following the vertical and horizontal lines in the following n cross n square grid are equispaced. So it's yeah, since I have written square grid, that means these are equispaced. Okay, so there are n lines here, n vertical lines and n horizontal lines. Okay, so I have represented this within dots. So there are n vertical lines this way and there are n horizontal lines this way. You have to find out the number of squares as well as the number of rectangles in this diagram. Okay, so how to apply the concept of combinations, permutations here. Okay, you try to do it. Okay, so some more problems I will be giving you which you may try. These are general problems involving counting principles. Okay, counting principles, permutations, combinations, anything you can use to try to solve it. How many integers between 0 and 10,000 have exactly one digit equal to 1? Okay, that means you have to find how many numbers are having only one digit as 1. Okay, so that means numbers like 1, 12, 13, okay, 17, 21, 31. Okay, how many such numbers are there, right? So I think the answer is 2916. The answer may be incorrect also. I had done in one of the copies. Okay, maybe it may be incorrect. You try to find out and just discuss with me. How many times does the digit 0 appear in the numbers from 0 to 10,000? Okay, say from 0 to 10, how many times 0 appears? 0 appears once in 0, once in 10. That means 2 times, right? From 0 to say 20, how many times 0 appears? 0 appears once in 0, once in 10 and once in 20, so 3 times. Okay, so that way you have to count how many times 0 appears in the numbers from 0 to 10,000. Okay, so most probably I had gone to the answer as 2894. You please try to check whether it's correct or not. How many numbers greater than 5400 have distinct digits and the digits 2 and 7 do not occur? Okay, so this also you may try. The answer may be something like 94794. Okay. How many numbers greater than 5400 have distinct digits? Okay, the digits are distinct, that means there is no repetition, and moreover the digits 2 and 7 do not appear. Okay, so our task is further simplified, so you try find this problem. So from here we are continuing the problem number from this exercise. Okay, we are continuing the problem number. So in the earlier videos I had stopped up to those PRMO problems. I had stopped up to exercise 27. So this is the exercise 28 that we will discuss in detail. Okay, and another exercise which is 29. Since we have done the concept of factorial, and also we have done the concept of division, divisibility, division algorithm. Okay, so we are in a position to solve this particular problem as well. Find all the solutions a, b, c, n in positive integers for the equation factorial a plus factorial b plus factorial c equal to 2 to the power n. Okay, to find all possible solutions of this particular equation, okay, in positive integers, right? Okay, so please try these problems. So see you next week.